Natasha and thank you so much for joining me today. Well, today is a very different video because this is going to be a holiday gift giving guide, my favorite things, these are the products that I would recommend for this year. Whatever you would like to call this video, I have put together very few. I tried to choose 2 or 3 items per category, absolutely maximum. I don't want this to be a whole lot of products, and so I'm keeping this really narrow. So we're going to start off with stamp sets, and these stamp sets are sort of general stamp sets, I would say. The first one here is the Gina K Designs Autumn Silhouettes. Now, with all of these projects or the items that I show you today, I will show you cards that I have used them on, and I have a video for every single card that you will see today, so I will try and link some of those in the top right hand corner. Now, this next one is the Colossal Coneflower by Gina K. I love this one. This is just a gorgeous flower. I have one of the side view of the flower. This card here features the frontal view and some of those little leaves. It's also got the sentiments, and then also these random cards that I used all of the sentiments from. Just a really good all-round floral stamp set. Now, this one here is a fun one. This is Connie the cow, and I absolutely love this gorgeous fun cow. And this little brayer background on the gel plate was very fun to make too. Moving on to smaller stamp sets, these have a much lower price point, and so these can be pretty handy. So over on the right there by Trinity Stamps, we have the Celebration Cupcake stamp set, and this is a card I made with that one. And then over there on the left, I have the Avery Elle. This is called So Tweet. Now, this is a small, gorgeous stamp set. As I said, much lower price point. I did actually go ahead and purchase the matching die sets with this one, and I would say that that was pretty good. It does definitely open up my options a little bit more. Then moving along pretty quickly, I have one Christmas stamp recommendation, and this is the one I chose this year from Picket Studios. This is Santa Claus Comes Tonight, and I will insert a couple of pictures here of the cards that I have made using this guy. I don't invest too heavily in Christmas stamps because I only use them for a small portion of the year, but I do thoroughly enjoy making a few Christmas cards, so I've got a couple there for you. Moving along next, I couldn't help but do sentiment stamps. I only again have a couple of recommendations here of what I have found really useful for me. And then this one, the first one is Magic Messages from Fawn. And this is sort of my general stamp set. I have used this on lots and lots of cards. It has a mixture of sentiments, which is always handy. I do say that I use the happy birthday sentiment probably most. I make the most cards using that. I have been particularly enjoying the round factor of these sentiments. I was looking for a stamp set like this for quite some time, and this fit the bill perfectly. Then, as I said, I make mostly birthday stamps, so I've got this big birthday stamp set here from Gina K, and this is just my absolute favorite this year. I have used so many on this, and all these different fonts means that it can be used in so many different ways. Next up, I'm moving very quickly along to dies. Now, I cannot say enough about stacking shape dies. I think that these are a great investment, and if you are needing a new shape, so it might be ovals, it might be hearts, it might be circles, or just these nice rectangle ones, then I do think this is a great investment, especially if you want to give somebody a hint for a Christmas present you might like. You can just send them this video and the timestamp of where they need to look, and they'll be away laughing. Now, next up, I can't go past some good foliage. This is from Pink and Main. These are the Leafy Dies die set. Of course, these match up. You can stack one on top of the other. You could use them as the focal points like I have in these first couple of cards, or you can use them as a more of a background, which I have done in this one here. So lots of different ways you can use them. You can just have the white outline and then some colored background, or you can have a colored outline and then white background, all sorts of good things. Moving on to the sentiment dies and keeping it really straightforward here. This is the Fawn Giant Happy Birthday to You. Now, this is just a great standalone sentiment. I have also used this and cut off the 2U down the bottom, and that extends the sentiment out a little bit as well. Now, not a sentiment die, but it does remind me that while I have these two cards out, these framed rectangles from Motor Scrap are just an absolute favourite of mine this year. I think these just add a little bit of texture, a little bit of interest to what can be a really plain, gorgeous card. So I've also used it on this little cupcake card here, and I used it in the two on the background as well. So you can just see how it adds that extra little detail. Now, as for the sentiment dies that are separate, I have chosen two that both have a shadow die as well. Starting off with the one on the left, this is the oversized Hugs print die from Waffle Flower, and this time here I've used it as a die, but this time here I actually took the die and used it as a stamp. So it works beautifully for absolutely both. The second one here is the Hello Metal die from Paper Rose, and again, this is just absolutely stunning. I think this can just finish off any card, and a little sub-sentiment is going to go a long way for these gorgeous little plain sentiments that go with absolutely everything. Now, I know we are moving along really fast in this video, but I just want this to be sort of a quick, efficient, sort of my style video. So we are going along at a good pace. Now, the next one is Embossing Folder, and I only have folder because there's only one, because I could pull out a whole lot of overall patterns, background patterns that are absolutely stunning and gorgeous. But this Altenew Calming Cluster is just a brilliant embossing folder that I have used over and over and over again. I love that it creates a focal point, whether it be really subtle like this one here and that Hugs oversized die as well, or if it just be the absolute focal point. I love this embossing folder, and there are lots of brilliant background ones that I could also pull out too, but this one is probably my most favorite and most used this year for sure. Now, next up, we are going to be moving along to some stencils, and as I said, I really tried to limit myself to 2 or 3 in every category. I didn't want to be pulling out 10 or 15, which I absolutely could, but this is the Puffy Squares stencil. This is from Waffle Flower, and I've used it here in the background with a little bit of Luna paste, a very, very thin, and this just creates a gorgeous, simple background. And following on from that card has to be the Gilded Rose stencil from Altenew. I absolutely love how this one creates a gorgeous, full flower. It is a great focal point. It could be lots of muted colors to create a background as well. This gorgeous stencil here, this is from Simple Stories and is called Enjoy the Moment. Here I used some watercolor markers actually through the stencil, and then just used a water brush to brush them out and get some color into the center there. Nice and easy, but I have lots of videos with this stencil as well on my channel. Once we have covered off all of the main tools and things that we are using, the stamps, the dies, and the stencils, we are moving on to a paper pad. This one has got to be my favorite this year. This is the Time to Relax 6x6. I'm unsure if this one is still available, but that definitely does not stop me showing this. I absolutely love the colors. I love the bold prints and the patterns. This makes life so much easier when you are coming to coordinate things and putting together a card. So here is a gorgeous little simple card that I created with the papers from that paper pad. Then, speaking of paper pads, I used to think I didn't need solid coloured cardstocks. However, I will say that these 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch paper pads from scrapbook.com, they have a huge range, not just the 3 here, but a huge range that are absolutely worth investing in, particularly when they end up having a sale or there's a discount. These are great, and I think that you will use these much more than you think you will. All of these cards here, I had so many that I could have pulled out that were using the paper pads, but this one here has to be my favorite. And this is just torn scraps of paper to give a tile, like a faux tile look, and then we use some embossing powder over top. This one was very fun to make, and maybe one of my most fun cards of this year that I enjoyed creating. So paper pads, the coloured cardstock paper pads, I absolutely do recommend these. I think they're great. Now, as for masking, there are 2 sort of products in general. One is the Gina Masking Magic Sheets. I have always loved these, and I think I probably always will. I also discovered that they have the Masking Magic strips, which I have been absolutely love using. I tried them out and realized that they were really very handy. The other one is the mint tape. This comes in a 1 inch and a 4-inch roll, and both of these are my go-tos when it comes to masking. Sticking with adhesives, but moving on to adhesive sheets, there are two that I absolutely love and happily interchange with each other. This is the Picket double-sided adhesive sheets. These are beautiful and thin for die cutting. I have had some trouble getting these this year, so I also tried out many other brands, and I ended up liking these Sizzix adhesive sheets as well. These are also fantastic for die cutting. They just come in a slightly different size, the 6x6. But I equally love both of these. Now, moving on to a little bit of cardstock and vellum. This is just really quickly my favorites. I love the Lawn Fawn Craft cardstock. That's the only one I use for card bases and card fronts. Same goes with the black licorice from Lawn Fawn. That's what I use for card bases and card fronts. And the vellum from Lawn Fawn. This is a heavier weight, 36-pound vellum, and you are able to do heat embossing as well as embossing folder techniques with this vellum because it's nice and heavy. Thank you so much for joining me today. Let me know if you would like one around tools and inks and things, but I feel like that wasn't too different from last year. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. But other than that, thank you so much. There will be links down below, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks, bye.